Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What's going on, everyone? This is Jaren from Jeranism, back with another live video for you this evening. Part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, you can check out the link in the description, and maybe you want to start there, or if you've seen it and want to start here with part 2. Excellent. Let's get started and try to keep this moving. With me tonight from Argentina for this second conversation is Landucci, 37-year-old from Buenos Aires, Argentina. And I guess I'll let him tell you a little bit about himself. And let me see if I can get him on the screen. Oh, he just has his screen up. But Iru, how are you, my friend?
Jeran, hello, man. How you doing? Pleasure to be here. Hello for everyone in the chat. I'm from La Plata, 40 kilometers from Buenos Aires. One of the most Masonic cities in my country. In fact, is based on the Washington design. All the creators and founder of my city are Freemasons, so you know how Argentina is, man. So if you have any doubt, check out the flag. You can see the heliocentric symbol with the Jesuit sun in the middle of the waters above and below. That is the colors in the flag. Blue, white, and blue.
Yep. And before we get going, Iru's got the second half of his presentation. I did want to show one thing to those who might be interested. I found it awfully interesting. The other evening, and I don't remember if it was 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago now, I sat down at dinner to watch the World Series, the MLB Baseball World Series. Turned that on right at the beginning, and I caught something interesting. I heard the voice of good old Neil deGrasse Tyson and thought, what in the world is this guy doing on baseball? Let me show you exactly what he was doing. Let me show you my screen. Yeah, you'll love this. Oops, hold on 1 second. I'm having a little issue. I'll fix it 1 second. I didn't put in this window capture. 1 second. Sorry about this. And there, and let's go with this one. All right, 1 second. We're going to make this a little bigger. All right, here we go. So I have clipped it. This is for fair use, obviously, for commentary and critique, but I claim no copyright. This is obviously that of Fox and Major League Baseball. So let's go ahead and hear it. 1 second here. Make sure that you can hear the sound. All right. Oops, I don't know what that was. All right, here we go. Now let's see if you can hear this.
The universe we know was created billions of years ago. It encompasses all of space and time, the planets, and more stars than the eye can see. But in October, you won't find brighter stars in the baseball galaxy than in the World Series. The constellation we call the Red Sox has been shining brighter than the diamond on which it plays. The Dodgers, though, are still waiting for a big bang of their own. Can they stop the Red Sox rocket ship and avoid falling into the black hole of an 0-3 deficit? You don't have to be an astrophysicist to know that tonight's game will be out of this world.
Nice, man.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Unbelievable. Number one, for those who like to dig deep into conspiracies, if you listen back to a couple things he said in there, obviously, number one, it was written right before the game because he included details about the series, talking about the Dodgers being down 2-0 and needing their big bang. And he says, you don't have to be an astrophysicist to know that tonight's Game 3 will be out of this world. Talks about, the danger of falling into the black hole of being down 3-0. Well, exactly what he predicted came true, that the game was, quote-unquote, out of this world, becoming the longest World Series game in history at 18 innings. The Dodgers crept out of their black hole by winning one game and did it with a, quote-unquote, big bang with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 18th. So just funny when you look at it that way. But also, even a funnier way to look at it is what other science needs to sell itself to the world like that? Where do we ever see anything like that? It's just the heliocentric religion, the space religion, being sold to little boys, whoever's watching the World Series. I think that they probably get maybe 20 million views. I don't know. I think it used to be a lot higher, 40 million or something. But I think nowadays the World Series viewership is down quite a bit. But it's just funny to me to see at this time. I mean, I've watched a lot of World Series games in my life and never anything like that coming on before. It just seems so desperate. What do you think about it, Iru?
Totally. That is the word. They are so desperate because, of course, every sport that we play in our days was created by Freemasons, starting for the first of all the sport, which is the soccer. Created in the 80s, 60s in Scotland. And, if you start go a little, just scratch the surface of the sport, you're going to find a lot of symbols and, numbers built in it.
You mean like
because there are just rituals, and there has the sport have a lot of layers of indoctrination, and also the sports are to like it's like being created by absorb your energy, but not like a fashion thing. No, you go to the sport to have that behavior where you express yourself like an animal, and go, you dry your energy in the sport. And here in Latin America with the soccer, you can clearly see how the people get angry and excited, and it's like shaking the the humans, and of course after any play, soccer play, you go to your home again and you are dry of energy. Literally. And when you start reading Orwell, or when you start reading I can pronounce in English, Hegel's, the guy of the World of Wars.
Yeah, H.G. Wells.
Yeah, that one. He put in the textbooks. I mean, how create sport to manipulate the male in the tribu.
Right, and if you look right at the screen, I left this little image up just because if you look at a baseball diamond, it is the compass and square. It's
totally
right there. It's right in front of you. So yeah, we have Neil deGrasse Tyson reconfirming this space religion, basically selling space, indoctrinating everyone whoever watches it. But do we see this in other sciences? I've never seen chemistry try and sell us at the I don't know, the beginning of an NBA Finals game. The Boston Celtics are like the rearranging of molecules. Their recent reactions with the Chicago Bulls compound is, I mean, give me a break. It's such a joke to hear it, and I hope people recognize it because it's quite obvious. I'll play it one more time just so we can hear it again so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. But just imagine what would have had to happen. Has to be Neil deGrasse, I'm guessing, or somebody from this science world going to the Major League Baseball and saying, hey, we'd love to read a little something we wrote today before the game. I don't know how it comes about, but it's definitely Neil deGrasse selling you his religion. Let's listen to it one more time.
The universe we know was created billions of years ago. It encompasses all of space and time, the planets, and more stars than the eye can see. But in October, you won't find brighter stars in the baseball galaxy than in the World Series. The constellation we call the Red Sox has been shining brighter than the diamond on which it plays. The Dodgers, though, are still waiting for a big bang of their own. Can they stop the Red Sox rocket ship and avoid falling into the black hole of an 0-3 deficit? You don't have to be an astrophysicist to know that tonight's game will be out of this world.
Yeah, so classic. Total joke. But again, people love it. They have adopted it as part of their belief system, and they believe in the fairy tales of outer space and space travel and planets and all these crazy orbits, and the sun that you see in the sky that you can cover with your thumb is actually 1 million times bigger than the Earth itself, than all that we see everywhere every day. The sun is 1 million times bigger than that, and 93 million miles away, and all the religion that goes with it, the religion of the vacuum of space and endless space, and the spinning ball religion. So I guess they have to sell it. That's what you have to do when no one's been there, and you just want to keep doing what you're doing. So we will switch screens over to Iru here, and Iru, you can get started with your presentation. I'm all ears.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Okay, yeah, in fact, let me just very quickly, because you start the subject, but here you can clearly see all the symbols in sports. This is one of the most famous soccer player in the world, which is from Argentina. It's called Messi, doing the sign of Horus, the logo of the World Cup in Brazil, which is clearly a depiction of the Horus, Egyptian god. You can clearly see here how they literally worship Baal and the Luciferian symbols, doing all the horns, the tattoos, the symbols of the Masonic are implicit in the sports. A lot of rituals of the Masonics are implicit in the sport. For example, you play into a rectangle, 11 guys confronting another 11. When you make a lateral, you put the balloon on your head, and you put, like in the triangle, the legs to drop the balloon inside the field. All the guys all the time are doing the same kind of symbol that you're gonna find in the religion of scientism today. Mm-hmm. When you see these guys doing the horns and the 666 and things like that, you have literally here nothing to hide. The tattoos are totally Luciferian depiction of the antiquity Babylonian gods. Mm-hmm. So I just quickly show this because a lot of in fact, my presentation is going to come, like this, trying to understand how the real world is controlling by the symbol. In fact, maybe if we wait enough, we can see the really World Cup, because the World Cup must be done like this, not like this. So let me just change the screen. So you are looking now the PowerPoint presentation?
Yep, got it.
Perfect. So let me just check. So, remember the last presentation that we made. We talk about, maybe more modern situation about the flat Earth and how everything start to be manipulating from the educational institutions. We start looking into the founders of the UNESCO, the educational programs that they teach us, not just in the elementary school, but also in universities. We start to talking about where the first universities come from, really basic, but the idea is that people can understand at least the basic, and how the Freemasonry was infiltrated in all these institutions, how they create the models of the modern educational system, the military institutions, the scientist institutions. And we come and to the end that we start talking about, or not talking about, but presenting the alternative educational system that some of the elite people use, which is the trivium and the quadrivium. It's not the only one, but maybe it's one of the most common alternative. And of course, they self saying that this educational system is based on free men's, opposed to the typical servant or slave education. So every time they treat us as slaves, and we start to looking into why for us is so difficult to understand the symbols and the gematria, because we didn't get that into school. So for example, when you see the field court in the baseball game, you don't understand that the drawing of the field is a Masonic square and compass.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you look into another sport, you don't be able to understand how it was made or built based on rituals or symbols or gematria itself. So that was just very quickly trying to understand this concept of understanding the universe in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, and not refer only to empirical experiment. Also, we must be taking into account that our voice, our thoughts are energy, are vibration, and has a frequency. So anytime that you see a symbol, it's also contained these three elements. So the idea of the second part of the presentation is just presenting what I call, but it's just a fashion name called geometrics, which is like a combination of the gematria and the matrix that they imposed over our reality. It's like the elite code. Simply, it's just a fancy name, but the idea is trying to look into our modern world and try to share with the people what I research based on a lot of other researchers via YouTube, via books, documentaries, regular stuff. But the idea is share with the people a few of my research based on this and trying to apply into the heliocentric reality. Reality for them, of course, not for us, right? So the first thing, it's because I live in a country where we have a lot of obelisk. In fact, I believe you guys have a lot of more than me in my country, but this is like symbol everywhere in the occidental part of the world. And maybe the people doesn't associate with the shape of a rocket, and it's just a little it's like the symbol of penetrating the Mother Earth, the atmosphere, trying to reach the sky, like the Tower of Babel, but like in the modern depiction. When you combine, I mean, if anybody out there see the old documentaries from the Dominic operations, you can remember the rocket, one of the rocket that they launched into the atmosphere, and the name was Thor. And we are talking about military guys that uses this kind of name, which refer to the hammer that you can break, the dome. So all the time they start using the symbolic names that refer to the antiquity Babylon rituals, which is trying to, ascending to the place of, if you want to call it God or whatever, the creator, you can name it whatever you want, but the real symbolic is like that. I tend to see the rocket like a flying obelisk, literally. So when you start looking into our modern life, because maybe in the last presentation, in the first presentation, we talk about old scientists, old Jesuit scientists, but in our modern days we still have the same thing. For example, one of the most knowledge guys out there are referring to the space industry, which is the Elon Musk. I picked this new which was on 14 February 2018, and the title is Ad Astra, which means like to the stars, the hermetic school that Elon Musk created to give a different education to their children. And why he give supposedly a different education, but not the different, is the hermetic school. It's not just another educational system. Unhappy with the education their children receive, Elon Musk did what many other parents will do: took them out of school, ad astra, toward the stars, surrounded by a halo of mystery and secrecy. So, I mean, this guy supposedly, is like the new genius of the 21st century, supposedly. But
Supposedly.
supposedly. But, all the time, look at the symbol, look at the logo of the new school, which is Ad Astra School. You can clearly see the symbol of the Illuminati pyramid that you can find it in $1 bill. The name, is really a strange name because Elon means light in Greek and Musk means younger son. And this is not the first time that you can combine those names to trying to, understand that they are just symbolic names. It's like the guy who is behind the binocular telescope of the Vatican, the guy Consol Magno is the surname. Consol Magno, which means in Spanish is with the magnificent sun. So, that is the surname.
Right.
I mean,
you're not making that up.
exactly. And for example, let me just open. This is out of the presentation, but
I never like to interject too much because I don't want to spoil further parts if you talk about it. Do you talk at all about Werner von Braun and his book and Elon Musk?
For example, I didn't have it here, but please share with us.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you haven't read it, and some people have seen it, that the head of the Mars Society, or the group of elders, is called the Elon, the E-L-O-N, the Elon, in Werner von Braun's book, and isn't it a coincidence that we got Elon Musk? Go ahead, though.
Exactly. Yeah, it's in the page, I believe, 76. I'm trying to find here in my computer, but what kind of, this is the book, Project Mars,
right.
technical, and it's really nice because it's a technical tale. It's not.
Oh, I was confused. I thought it was like a fairy tale. No, it's a different kind.
No, it's different kind, man. It's different kind. So here is a technical tale. Like it's like, see it's like the
It's kind of fake, but kind of real.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But it's like the Bible of how
yeah.
we can live in the in Mars,
Right.
because they use the same kind of concept for illustrate our modern concept of living in Mars. It's just the same thing. So I was trying to find. I'm not going to lose time, but that is the book. You can find it. Here is. I mean, what kind of coincidence could in the heliocentric Big Bang universe can give you this? Martian government was directed by 10 men. The leader of WOM was elected by universal suffrage for 5 years and entitled Elon. I mean,
in quotation marks and everything.
In quotation, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So here we have Elon Musk.
You know what kind of universe that can happen? The same universe where it ends up that the sun and moon are the same size in the sky, but actually 400 times different. That kind of universe, I guess.
That kind of universe, exactly.
Magical.
Magical. The fact is that, for example, a few months ago, Elon Musk was elected as a fellow of the Royal Society of London, and that is real life. This is the tweet that he made. Of course, the Royal Society is based on the Sir Francis Bacon knowledge, which was a Freemason. We have books, really interesting book like The Invisible College, The Royal Society, Freemasonry, and the Birth of the Modern Science, because the modern science was based or was created or at least presented by Freemasons. Of course, the heliocentric model and the education, like we shared in the first part, was created by the religious people. But to the ordinary public, it gives us from the Freemasonry. They are, behind the modern science, the birth of the modern science.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, these guys also belong to the actoral, realm, actoral kingdom, like the Grace Tyson, like Bill Neal, like so many guys out there. And, with this kind of picture, I really doubt that he's the son of the light, but
I doubt it.
Who knows?
But you never know.
You never know. Exactly. You never know. But all the time they play with us. They do this kind of symbolic thing in his presentations. Of course, people out there can believe no, but this is forming the X of the SpaceX. But if you go a little back in time, the same symbol is used by the Skull and Bones. So then you must make your own research and find the truth. If you believe this is just a coincidence or is part of the Royal Society, which is part of the Freemason, which is part of the Skull and Bones, which is part of the Illuminati, and blah blah blah, it's up to you. But if we keep going into analyze at least the who is behind the space. I'm start with this example, with this modern example, which is Elon Musk, because he's out there in all articles and news and papers and things like that. But when we start talking about the creation or the founder of the modern space science, we must start with Bernard von Braun and that other guy. But for me, one of the most iconic and occultist guy out there is Chuck Parson. Mm-hmm. This is like the one of the father of the rocket scientist. And when you go even to the Wikipedia, you can find it like the religious belief, which it was an occultist joined by the esoteric organization by Crowley. He belonged to the Ordo Templi Orientis. And the most funny thing for me is when you go to the death and say Parson died in 1952 after a chemical explosion in the laboratory of his house, according to the popular belief, while performing a magical experiment. So he died in explosion performing a magical experiment, not performing, in a new rocket.
Right.
So, and anytime you're trying to explain to the people that the science is, totally infiltrated by these guys, they don't even consider this the thing. And one of the most important is that he prayed to pagan god Pan, and this is a word like you can find in a lot of places, not just in NASA, but also in our geographical education about the Earth. Of course, I just put some of book covers from that time, showing the orange, the 33 schematic number of the color orange. So that is why they use this kind of colors, the 66, 66 cents of six of, all the time you're going to have these symbolics behind what they do. But when I see these people dressed like this,
Right.
And try in my mind trying to also putting into a NASA headquarters, working every day, trying to find a way to get out of our planet.
Mm-hmm.
There is something that, is make some sparks.
Right. And I mean, Jack Parsons too. A lot of people don't know that he, had so much to do with Jack Parsons' lab, or what it's called now is JPL.
Exactly. Supposedly the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, but also have that the name of he. And something that I want to mention about the names and things like that, I'm gonna come later because I don't want to mix up so much. Right now I have my brain trying to think in English. So I mark the part of prayer, praise to the god Pan, because, for example, when you start looking, you're gonna find this symbolic of Pan everywhere. This is the real Pan. The real Pan is a demonic pagan god of sexual perversion, pedophilia, penis erect, which is like an obelisk, like a rocket, trying to penetrate the Mother Earth.
Phallic symbol, trying to drop off its deposits out there in space. Yep.
Exactly. The attribute or symbol associated with Pan are the goods, holy goods, the pastures, the umbrella, the phallus, and the flute. In fact, in Germany, pan flute is the name for they don't call just flute, they call pan flute, because that is the magic, the magic symbol or the magic tool for make the child go into the goods and have that perversion acts. So when you see this kind of symbol, a television is like a flute. I mean, it traps you in a hypnotic state that they can, take you wherever they want, virtually speaking. So, for example, if you go to this image on the on NASA archives, you're gonna find this picture, which called Robert Bree Pan, and then they have another picture to the right in other separate file that continue anoramic, oramic. So why you split the word pan, oramic like that? I mean, you can split whatever you want, but if you start looking in this kind of symbolic things, you're gonna understand that this split is on purpose. Is to well, at least I like to look in that way, because when you start to connecting the dots, you're gonna understand. Jack Parsons loved and prayed to the god Pan and create the the GPL. So
and played around a lot with L. Ron Hubbard, conjuring up spirits and doing all kinds of crazy nonsense. Go ahead, continue.
Exactly, man. So then, for example, we can found the name Pan also in the geographic science, you remember the Pangea, which mean, because the word pan depends of where you're going to find it. If you go to the Greek language or the English or Babylonian language, it has different meanings but the same core, and that core is mean demonic, demon. So when they trying to say that at the beginning the earth was all together, the land masses are all together, and that was the time of the Pangea. It's like in your face telling you that is the land of the demon. And anytime I trying to imagine this, this kind of a scenario, I mean, where is the body center going in this situation? I mean, when the earth was a ball with all the continent together,
That makes no sense.
what happened with the ecliptic and the
Yeah, real balance too,
yeah, where is the
side.
balance, exactly.
Yeah.
So here you can start seeing, of course, maybe we can understand why in our days we see a lot of this in the in the media, science guy and astronaut guys all the time referring to the horns, referring to the 666, the all this symbolic that they camouflage all the time, because when they put this, for example, in historics television series like Star Trek, you cannot associate. You see Obama doing this, and you believe that he's a fan of Star Trek, but this is a Jewish symbol also. When you see a rock star doing the horns, you believe that he likes heavy metal. That is how the works in the people's mind. So this is just a quick, compilation of few of these. I mean, and this is without the audio, but I remember when they present this, they literally talking about they make rituals to PCA the gods before doing the missions.
Yeah, they say we need to do this to appease the gods before we go out on our spacewalk. Yeah.
Exactly, and you can see all the time referring to the horns. You see this, hiding symbols, doing this ISIS, for example, with the T-shirts. And you have here, for one of the commanders, actual commanders in the ISS that come from German, and he show how you can dry your hair without having hair. But he showed that, and he's pointing to the camera the eyes of Horus in his shoulder. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you can tattoo whatever you want, but you have all this constantly present, not just in the astronaut, also with the guys who works with astronaut, having the demon tattoos, making the horns. And this is just the 5% of you can find it out there, doing this kind of, experiments that I can see in space with one eye, with one eye, but of course you can see with one eye. It's, but all the time they trying to use these cool angles to take a picture, but it's also referring to other symbols. So when you see that the old astronauts are all part of Freemasonry, but with credentials, without even hiding, what you make think that the modern astronauts, they are not in the same institutions.
Yeah, it's all new guys now, so they must not be in the same fraternities or whatever. I pulled up real quick on Jack Parsons before we leave that. This is a little article I found. I don't remember when it was, but this is an interesting little line here. I'll read it real quick. It's talking about when he died, and it says, when he died in a mysterious... Oh, it's from the website motherboard.vice.com. But it said, when he died in a mysterious explosion at his home laboratory, the tabloids weren't the only ones to label him a mad scientist. So, too, did the scientific establishment. The story of Parsons was locked in the attic, hidden in footnotes, and swept under the launch pad of the U.S. space program. But Parsons' scientific legacy is impossible to ignore. He forced the United States government to explore a science that it had previously mocked and laid the foundation of the rockets that carried man into outer space. He was one of America's greatest space pioneers. He just happened to also be one of its greatest occultists. If you were to tell someone you were a rocket scientist during the 1920s and 1930s, they'd have either laughed at you or backed away with a worried expression on their face. No universities taught rocketry courses, and there was no government grants allotted for rocketry research. To the public, rockets were pure science fiction. In established scientific circles, they were even worse, synonymous with ridiculous, far-fetched, the lunatic, a byword for insanity. So isn't it funny how far we've come? Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, man. And in fact, let me just add this. I sorry because this is in Spanish, but if you go really back, this is from the Sean D, which was a guy born in the 490. He was the assessor, the scientific, the guy who, make the scientific predictions for the Queen Isabel I. But he also was a magician. I mean, I just, he draw maps. He studied in Cambridge. He make a really great work with people like Gerardus Mercator, creating the vanguardian maps. I mean, all these guys that come from England, that work on the Britain Encyclopedia, that study in this Oxford, Cambridge, blah blah blah. They are the scientist guys in their times, but he also are magicians or emetic guys. I mean, it's the same thing over and over again.
Over and over again. If you look up John Dee in Wikipedia, I know it says that he straddled the worlds of magic and modern science. So, and
exactly,
supposedly
and this
talking
is
with
like,
aliens and people from beyond. And the story of John Dee is an incredible one.
It's incredible, exactly. And he was, I mean, I can imagine doing this, Shaq Parson, dropping this, dust of angel.
Angel dust.
Angel dust trying to fly a rocket, man. So, yeah, our modern science is not so different in terms of the core.
Nope.
From the old days. In fact, for example, this is from Brazilian politicians that they are into the Freemasonry, and also he works with NASA, and this is modern stuff. Mm-hmm. And this is from another country. It's not from United States, but this is how they work. They infiltrate in every country to perpetuate the lies, right? So we can go, returns to the Shaq Parson times, and we can start see the first try to ascending into the heavens, and you're gonna find that Gerard Picard and Bernard von Braun work together. It's not just that Bernard von Braun worked with only Shaq Parson. All the science guy at that time work together. We used to talk about Picard, I believe was the grandfather of Gerard Picard, which supposedly see the Earth from 10 kilometers and describe like a flat disk and blah blah blah.
Right.
He only ascend 10 kilometers.
Right.
So leave that clear. I mean, they don't reach 120 kilometers.
No, only 10, and then described it from there as a flat Earth with an upturned edge.
Exactly.
And if anybody hasn't seen the video, I'll put it at the end of this one. But I did a video a while back about Wernher von Braun and the way NASA provides these education guides for teachers. And I covered an education guide where what they're trying to teach teachers to teach children is that because Wernher von Braun got people to the moon, that he can be forgiven. Basically, his crimes as a Nazi can be overlooked. And this is an actual document for teachers, and basically teaches children that the ends justify the means. In the end, when it comes to Werner von Braun, you are to respect him and pay no attention to the fact that he killed many and saw many killed on his watch there at his rocket factory.
Yeah, in fact, something that for me is, and I'm not a religious people, but I am a study people, open-minded people, and I like to see everything I can, because I believe that in every book you can have some good stuff.
Agreed,
And
yeah.
for me, when you see this guy who comes from Nazis, I have a different opinion from the Nazis guy. But what I'm trying to say is, this guy worked from NASA like with a gun in the head. I mean,
Right.
he wasn't a slave. He's not, oh, what a great day I have. I work in NASA. So, but this guy, for me, is really important, because when he died, like everyone knows, he lived in his placate of death, the Psalms 19:1,
Right.
which talks about I'm sorry because this is in Spanish, but he talks about, the father of the rocketry and the supposedly guy who sent the man to the moon. In his death placate, he doesn't, you don't have like, with love your child and your wife. No, he just typed this, which refer to there is up there a firmament that anybody can pass.
Right, I'll read it here. 19:1 Psalms
Please.
is, the heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands. So that's Psalm 19:1, which, like you said, where's not a quote, not his wife's name, not his goodbye to my children or anything, just Psalms 19:1, and he's out.
Exactly. The guy that supposedly sent the man to the moon, and even more, and we can talk about in other episode, if you want to allow me, talk about the Blue Beam project, the NASA Blue Beam project, because this guy was one of the say, hey,
whistleblowers, really.
open your eyes, because it's gonna come a fake invasion. Alien invasion, and he talks about the Blue Beam project. So, but in all his glory, he worked with Disney, so he isn't like Justin Bieber, he's an artist of Disney. That is just how a person can pass from this kind of friends to this one.
Yeah, I've got a video on my channel under the playlists. If you look at it, it's one of the men who was actually in one of the camps, the rocket building camps that von Braun was at, where he said that von Braun ordered one of the people to be hung from the rafters every day. So real good guy, quality guy, got us to the moon. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. I didn't see that. So, you can start to see the connections, how everything is mixed up, but they have the same core, which is the occultist, the hermetic beliefs. Even in our days, you can see the parallel, merchandising, like, in the early 50s, the man in space, great by Walt Disney, and in our days, Spaceman. At least they changed the order. It's the same propaganda, An astronaut unlikely journey to unlock the secret of the universe. This guy can even unlock the door of his house. Everybody knows him. This guy which talks about the first time that they was in the ISS control room, and they pray that the astronaut up there show us they are really in space. I shared this in Blockbuster show.
Yeah.
So this guy, supposedly he repaired the Hubble telescope, and you can see the parallel situation here.
Didn't he's the one that was on the interview with Mark Sargent as well?
Exactly, and he was member of Freemasonic Lodge also. In fact, I Rob Skiba show that document. So again, you can see all the time how they share the same beliefs. In fact, at that time, Walt Disney has an educational company. Walt Disney Educational Media Company. Well,
And look what look what they're buying
yeah,
too. They own everything now. I mean, Disney owns Fox and ESPN, and I mean it's going to end up. I mean, it'll be Mickey Mouse all over the place.
yeah. But in fact, the first, like Disney Park today, but at the beginning of the 60s, trying to manipulate or set up the brains of the people, they create the first inner space adventure park, which is this one. And all the games was financed by Monsanto, the same Monsanto that is all over our plants.
Right, vegetables and
And
fruits.
exactly, here you can see the logo, and even it's here in the in the billboard. I mean, adventure through inner space presented by Monsanto. And if you go to the videos that are in uploading in YouTube, you can see all the games that they have with rockets and atoms, and all the time trying to make you believe that the quantum physics is real, the rocket is real, the space is real. But this is all set up by the kind of institute like the Tavistock Institute of Human Relation that was created by the Rockefeller family and other guys, of course. So I mean,
Jeez.
they are really magicians in terms of putting ideas in your mind, and they're gonna use whatever they want into their hands, basically.
And you have to look at the middle of the screen there. You'll see the Walt Disney logo, and the 666 is painstakingly obvious. It's not even like somebody's having to go through a stretch, or maybe they're flipping one or something. I mean, it's completely obvious. Another one is, I'll show you this one. Have you ever seen this logo for CERN? Now, think to yourself, these are scientific individuals, and this is the logo they come up with for CERN, which is clearly 3 sixes. I mean, same thing with Google, and Chrome.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same,
But
same thing.
you know what? The 666 means son, God. Sorry, son of light. So they are, like Elon Musk, the son of the light. The 666 refers the light, the enlightened ones. So that is why they put in. It's not the number of the beast in terms of the beast like a beast. It's meaning the son of the God son.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why, for me at least, they put it, because it's like a symbol, like say, we love the heliocentric model because we created and we are son of that model.
Right. Yeah, it's the same thing as like the Masons worshiping the architect of the universe. Well, yeah, there is somebody that architect your universe real well. With
Exactly.
flying planets and orbits and suns and comets and asteroids.
Exactly, but the idea of this of these slides is trying to show the people with real document and real picture of the real life that all the connections where they go, because Monsanto, Disney, NASA, the media, MTV, everything is owned by the same people.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, our modern pan flute is the television. It's just the actual television, because when you and I know that a lot of people know that, but just for the new ones, when you open and go to this patent, you're gonna see like refer to the monitor, but it's not patented by monitor. It's nervous system manipulation, but electronic fields from monitors. So when you looking into a TV screen or into a monitor or into a media, into a cinema, you have been hypnotized.
Pull that box
Literally.
a little. Pull that box a little bit to your right, just so people can see the whole thing. No, I don't know why we can't see it quite right. All right, go ahead. What does it say? What manipulation by electromagnetic fields? What does that say? We can't see the left side of the screen.
You can see that the physiological effects have been observed in human subject in response to simulation of the skin.
The first thing, we can see the word "have been observed" in a. It just you need to. There you go. Move it over to your right there. Thank you. Now we can see it.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
Nervous system manipulation by thank you.
Exactly, but you must understand that this concept of the being manipulated by images and electromagnetic fields, it comes, and I showed this in the first presentation, but it comes from this Jesuit when he creates the magic lantern showing this demon on the wall. I mean, the Hollywood, that is the most important industry based on pictures and cinema, is belong to these Jesuit orders to use symbology, secrecy, magic, Kabbalah, alchemy, occultism. And this guy, if you see the first episode, you're gonna find that this guy was the first to promote the core, the iron core in the spherical Earth and the Coriolis effects, and so you must understand how deep these things goes. Basically, it's not just you go into your home and drop into the sofa and play the television like the television was your friend. So, like you said before, all the media companies are belong to the same guys all the time, and here is just a screen capture of that patent. We can see Disney, hiding into symbols everywhere in terms of space industry. We can see the Mickey Mouse in the ISS doors. We can see the Mickey Mouse in Jupiter's surface. We can see the Pluto face in Pluto planet. I mean, we can see astronaut in Disneyland, of course, man. And talking about the son of the child of the sun and things like that, we can start see in our modern system where NASA fake the ISS, because NASA has a device called Argos, and I'm gonna show you in a few moments. But why they choose the name Argos from NASA, devices? Because Argos means the son of Zeus, which referred to the creator in the Greek mythology, or the sun is all the same, and you can find the symbol, because you can type Argos or you can draw a lightning bolt. It's the same thing. This icon referred to this name, and this name referred to this icon, and this icon referred to that god. So you have multiple layers all the time to tell you the same thing, and you can find it in the military patches, or music artist, or even Chris Hadfield drawn his in his face, because he's an astronaut, but he's also like like a sex symbol in our days. So you can see magazine cover. This is from I believe early of this year. This cover, I can't remember the McLean's, I believe, is the
McLean's, yeah.
the name, the name of the magazine. But why these guys decide to accept the drawing of the thunderbolt symbol? Because they refer to the same kind of worships. So when you translate this into NASA devices, you're gonna find the NASA Argos system, which is the system that they've been used from the moon landing fake the supposedly low gravity. And you can also find, let me just post this. The Argos system from NASA is just the system that they use to hang out people, and simulating or training the low gravity environment. But it's a really, let me open in the other monitor. It's really curious thing, because the modern devices for fakering the ISS low gravity environment, it comes from the magician, from another magician guy, which called David Copperfield. Because David Copperfield, I don't know if you know that, but he belongs to the Masonic order also. And he admitted in few times. One of the most iconic times was in the TV show called The Price of History, transmitting into a History Channel. I don't know if you saw it sometimes, but let me just in this episode of this TV series, we can see here David Copperfield, and David Copperfield bring to these guys this antiquity object to make a restoration. He brings that, but this object is not just a random object that David Copperfield find in his attic. His article, or his this object, belong to this Masonic ritual. And even you can see the dress of the Masonic guy here, which is really close to the prisoners when you go to the jail, in old times.
Mm-hmm. Slave.
So
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So in this episode, I'm not going to play the audio, because you're gonna have maybe some copyrights. That is why the image is inverted. But in this episode, and anyone can find it, he talks about like he belongs to a certain group of people, which is a lodge, and this object is being used for initiated people in the Freemasonry. This was a ritual doing. It's called the Reading the God, the secrecy, masculinity, and fraternal high hinks in the United States. And this is a ritual from Masonic guys. This guy create the system that you can hang people with two, really tiny cables, about 1 millimeter thick, and support more than 100 kilograms. And not just that, in the 90s, he make all the shows, with floating in front of people, doing all kind of turnings and twists and flying in front of people, and you are not able to detect that. So that kind of technology, for me at least, is applied in our days, and that is why the astronaut, they want to make some turns and they been stuck, or they fall down into the ground because the Argo system, fail. And we all seen this kind of errors in the ISS. But the idea is show you where it's come from and how was, performed in time. But they still have errors, and that's
obviously
is wonderful.
Yep.
So everyone see this kind of video. So I'm gonna pass over. Then you have some patents out there, that there are devices from NASA that's all the time they trying to simulate reduced gravity conditions. They have a lot of equipment and technology. The ISS is a mixture of a lot of techniques. It's free falling over the planes, it's cables, it's digital compositing, it's underwater training. It's not just one system that they use to fake.
No.
And you can detect very easily, because when you see this kind of movement when where these guys move so freely, it's not in real time. is not on live event. It's on documentary event, because they have all the time to post produce these things. But when they are live, they just make one movement up and down and talk front to the to the camera, and they don't do anything else. I mean, they make some backflips and they get stuck, or they don't get so much risk when it's a live event. And here we can see, for example, this is a few random situations from the ISS. For example, here you can clearly see this kind of image that they fake is just it's like filming on the plane and then post-producing, putting this in front,
Right.
and the fake sun, just that, because you can see that this is a time lapse of hours, supposedly, the ISS traveling up into the clouds, but the clouds never change. And in fact, it's not just never change. If you look it, you can see the linear movement of the supposedly spherical Earth behind. It's not a rotation of the object. It's translating really linearly
Across.
from this side to this side, and you can see how the clouds deforming at the same time is passing to the the mapping of the 3D sphere. Mm-hmm. So you when you start to look at these pictures and these images, these videos where the clouds never change, and you compare with real life situation, when you have just a time lapse of minutes, not hours, and you can see how the clouds change into morphing into other shapes, you must start wondering what is going on here, why the clouds never change. And maybe in real life or in real time, this cloud to get to this point takes about 25 minutes. So, for me, there are, as a visual effects guy, when I see this kind of thing, it's too easy to do. And here we have...
Real quick, for anyone just joining us, I'm here with Ira Landucci, but tell them real quick how you work with CGI and what you do and what you've done before, just so people who are hearing this for the first time know your background.
Okay, I'm 37 years old. From the 18 years old, I'm start working on computer graphics here in Argentina. I work a lot of with and I still work with television companies, doing motion graphic, but especially doing visual effects. In fact, I created a lot of spherical Earth during my my work in my regular work. I delete that slice here, sorry. But this is my, anyone out there who wants to check out my experience. This is my webpage. It's called Studio MOX, and this is the studio, my studio that I have with another guy here in Argentina. And I create a lot of motion graphic things and visual effects situation, and I was even work with History Channel doing satellites, for example. And at that time I never start thinking about, look, my demo reel of 2014 start with a spherical Earth. I mean,
way to go. Shill, unbelievable.
Yes, I am a shill. And I have so many troubles, mapping the maps that you can download from the official site of NASA, because NASA provides you all the rectangular maps for mapping into a sphere, but you always have problem into the poles. When you're trying to map a rectangular map like the Mercator map into a sphere, you're going to have that weird stretch into the North Pole and the South Pole. And I've been, literally turning crazy, tweaking the maps for having the correct shape of the mountain in the south, and now I understand why we have that kind of problem. But I mean, I just play this, for illustrating my background,
Well, good. Thank you.
my
Yeah.
skills. So I'm gonna take it out.
Awesome skills. Yeah, continue. I wish I had those skills. I'm very jealous.
Okay, and that is why I enter into the flat Earth movement or reality based on the shit that I see of NASA, because all my life only see documentary from NASA in the Argentinian television. But when you start looking into real live footage, even in the own channel of NASA TV, I never saw that at that time. And when I saw it, I start thinking, hey, that kind of effects is the same effect that we use in movies. I mean, what's going on?
Right.
And you never go back. Once
No.
you see real life footage from NASA, you never go back to
No.
the
I'm the same way.
American-
I only saw the occasional launch or whatever might be on TV, so I never saw any of that stuff. It wasn't until I started looking at one spacewalk or looking at a live footage from the ISS that I said, hold on a second, this is fake as shit.
Yeah, totally agree, man. And for example, a few curious things. This is the Thomas Pasquet astronaut from. This is a French guy, and he used this patch, from his mission, and it's really strange because they put the shenanigans into the patch, which it's not just they put that word. It's they going to tell you the history of this patch, even in his own Flickr account or Facebook account, because this is everything that I show in my slides are screen capture from the real account or real image on internet. It's not just that I make it. In fact, here you can see the Facebook link to this picture if you want to check it from yourself. So the coolest of all patches, ESA astronaut class of 2009, the shenanigans. We are 6 astronauts from different European countries. We represent not only our respective nations and ESA, but what can be achieved when we work together as international team, as we did during our training to fool the world. And here comes, a lot of histories go into the name and the design of the patch. I will tell only a few. The patch is shaped like a cupola, has 6 stars for the 6 members of the selection, and sport the motto of the astronaut corps. The rest is secret. Why is secret?
Jeez.
All the time they are occultist guys.
Yep.
So all the time they play, with secrets. They love secrets, like this kind of.
Yeah, and I have wrong button. I have a little screen up here, browser. Sorry, just some pictures of hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. This is like the astronaut mantra. If you type that in, and you'll see they always take pictures where 2 of them will be, 3 of them are speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil. You've got it here as well. So yeah, take that upon yourself to think about what that means. Go ahead.
Totally. In fact, if you turn the 09 upside down, you're gonna see 06, and 6 member, 6 stars. All the time they play with these numbers because that is the gematria. That is the code that they use all the time. Just communicate himself. It's nothing more than that. But I have here, a little clip because I have, when people, I like to understand the real life events, and when you start looking into how many times these guys trying to distract us or justify telling that, hey man, we are real space, you must be wondering that something is happening, because you don't see a military guy trying to, justify one of the things that they do.
Right.
They just do it, and
I really
fuck
drive
off,
this
man.
tank. I really drive this tank. I swear, we're really in the tank. When you see the tank on TV, we're in the tank.
Exactly. It's like see a military guy, trying to convince you that they are inside the tank. I mean,
Right.
It doesn't have any sense. So let me just open, because I don't want to play from the PowerPoint, because maybe it's going to tilt. Sorry for here. I have it. Let me just open. I believe is this one. Let me.
No problem.
No, because I am in here. Here I have it.
There you go.
So it's in English, but I have the subtitles in Spanish because I share this with my people. So let me know if this.
There were quite a number of articles and people who theorized. So as far as some people believe that you're not really in space; you're just tranquilly in some sort of a hidden space on Earth. How do we prove to people that you are 500 kilometers above me? How do Parisians get convinced of that? Well, it's hard to fight against that sort of conspiracy theory. But what you're controlling, you can see, for example, how is it that I can do? We cannot do this in a hangar on Earth, for example. There's no.
And look at the head; it's falling down. Trying to
Holding
get the
up.
balance.
Yep.
But this is the proof. I mean,
Right,
you
'cause
can
you can't
literally
do that. You can't do that in a hangar on Earth. You can't do it in a movie.
No,
you can't
no.
do it live.
You can't even.
I've never seen David Copperfield fly live. Nope, can't be done. Must be real.
In fact, I mean, he can make any kind of movement, but he only do just rotate 45 degrees
Right.
to show that it's impossible to do that in the Earth.
How is it that we cannot do this in a hangar on Earth, for example? There's no anti-gravity machinery on Earth.
It's such a unique, amazing experience. I think the fact that I took so many pictures up here is going to help me believe that I actually did it.
You look like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska or something. The shot is so clear. Is this a hoax? Are you really in space still?
Why that? This is a hoax. You are really in space. I mean,
Are you really in space still?
See the hair?
Oh, the hair.
I don't know. We're going to have to do something for you.
I want to do it. I know.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. Watch this. Can everybody float around for us? That was really cool, Chris. Look at her. Look at her.
I think Sandy's hair is pretty much a dead giveaway. There's a pose for you right there.
It's very exciting. So can you just reassure us, that you really are in the space station? You're not suspended by hidden wires in a closet.
by hidden wires. I mean, they can be more specific,
Right.
At someplace. You are in the space station. You're not suspended by hidden wires in a closet someplace. Maybe your hair alone kind of gives it away.
Thank you very much, Mark, for your looping. It is very helpful because my grandchildren, they always say they are not really in space. It's all organized in NASA Hollywood.
Is there anything you can do to prove to us right now that you're actually in space? I mean, do some kind of floaty astronaut trick or something for us?
Yeah. So, yeah. There's absolutely no strings attached to Mike, as far as I know.
You can't even have to warn the kids, don't try this at home, because there's no way they could try that at home. We're about out of time here. We got just about 30 seconds left of KU. We really appreciate you spending time with us at, cutting into your pre-sleep time. So in the last couple seconds, though, you've done a great job of describing things. We obviously have people in space. The space program is by no means over. Can you just finish some more astronaut tricks to prove again that you are actually in space? This is not a farce. Have you lost some weight? You see, look at that.
Jeez.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Ron. Ron, we'll see you soon, buddy.
And this is
Group somersault. Can you do one for me?
And this is, for me, is the most spectacular failure in the ISS, trickery, looping, backflip, whatever you want to call it, because I believe this is the last time they make a group looping, and after this they never make again, like 5 people doing this kind of mess, because here you can clearly hear the Argos system, and that is why all the time, when they pass the microphone, they turn off, just for passing 30 centimeters to the next guy.
Right, you get turned off.
You need to turn it off, and then that doesn't have any sense. At least you are, trying to hide some kind of sounds. So they're gonna start that somersault group.
Yeah, no problem. I think we can do that, right?
So I rise up the sound level, and first of all, the guy in the back, before even these guys agreed to do that, he jumps like David Copperfield straight up to, trying to clean up the scene, and you're gonna hear it like a which start making, you must be imagining that up in the ceiling they have all these tiny servo motors that control the weight and of the wires that they are hanging on.
Somersault. Can you do one for me?
He comes.
Yeah, no problem. I think we can do that, right?
That is the first. Then, they make all these turns, and Scott Kelly, or Scott Kelly brother, because I can't identify, he got stuck, and he can, flip again to a regular position, because I believe that up in the ceiling they have some kind of mess in terms of wire that they can't go back to the regular position. So this guy start to being stuck in the arms, so they can move the arm, and he needs to go down, because here we have 5 people. So let me just take a few moments to explain what I believe is happening.
Mm-hmm. So
this guy needs to go down to unwire himself before start moving.
Not as graceful
and
as
he do some kind of things with the hands.
They could have been.
They
That's why we usually hesitate.
This guy comes through the camera trying to distract the rest of the picture.
But it's certainly fun to do.
But this guy and this other guy, they are like stuck together. So
at least
they are start moving in the background.
Having some fun up there. You're not going to the Olympics with that. Keep the day jobs, guys, or night jobs on this mission.
So the red guy is going to, stop the movement of the other, and you can see the face right now. But we're going to continue. So he's going to move the arms, trying to, get the rest position. Like that. Why he moved
our night jobs on this mission?
The arms like that. Okay. But Scott Kelly, or the brother, he still are upside down and high, and he can't, go back into the rest position. So he's still, and here is gonna come one of the most, historic errors up there, because this guy, which identify the problem, he gives like a warning sign to the operators, trying to tell, hey man, it's all control. I see the problem. Let me just push the button, and he's gonna make this hand movement like that, saying, okay, I see what is happening. So they're going to go off screen, and he's gonna extend the left arm and press something. But this time, because the microphone is still open, you're gonna hear it, and not just hear it, the sound. You're gonna see the cloth doing 2 movements in straight angles. So I don't know who is going to explain this. And you can see here.
Oh, wow.
So what's going on? I mean, why the cloth behave like that? And why the cloth behave like that just in the same time that this guy pressed something out the screen and you can hear the system being released and the cable moving the cloth.
Yeah, Miles, and I'll send you one of these bracelets.
I would like one. Thank you.
And they, start scratch himself trying to, because maybe the wire is, touching the skin and things like that.
All of you very much. Appreciate your time. I know you got a busy.
But you know what I mean, man. I mean, that kind of movement.
Absolutely.
It's impossible. It's impossible. In fact, when you start understanding this Argo system, you're gonna see, for example, in this video here. Let me go back a little bit. I believe it's in this one, which the most of the people just paying attention to the little finger.
Oh yeah, there's so much more going on with the two in the back.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, this guy immediately when the front astronaut start to doing the backflip, he jumped to the ceiling and touch another button.
I don't know. We're gonna have to do something for you.
That.
I want to do it.
Because there is no. I mean, why he's going to go up, stretch the arm
at all?
And that doesn't have any meaning. And you can even hear it, because most of the people maybe believe that kind of sounds is because, the astronaut hits something on the floor, some kind of, metal piece or things like that. But when you start to put all together, you're going to see that sound is the mechanism that they use to fake this. In fact, you have here two movements of the arm. One, which is like, turning into the center of the arm that like is, avoiding some kind of thing that are in that situation. Then go to the floor. Even that girl.
Look at her pointing. Yeah, she points.
Pointing like, hey, press the button, because if not, we are all in trouble. And when you see that, I have this video here, and please, this is a new one, but no, it's not just a new one, but it's from our ear. You must be see here in this background monitor, the astronaut is in front of the camera with the two arms on the ceiling. You can see it there.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, look how the camera, when start, recording the event, the camera start recording, so early that you can see how the cables are pushing the astronaut back. That is the first thing you're going to see. Look it.
Station Houston, are you ready for the event? Houston, are you...
I mean, let me just start again. Look how the astronaut go into the front of the camera, rise up the right arm, push something, which is the Argo system, and then you're going to see the reaction into the body.
Ready for the event.
They push the button, go back, and the cables are up. I mean, and they take the microphone, and I'm going to accelerate the image, and all the time you're gonna see how it goes up constantly. Every movement that he make, they go up and touch something, make the turns, go with the arm, and all the time, this is 50 minutes accelerated, and all the time the same arm and the same part of the image. Why he goes so many times pushing something here?
Interesting.
When you start to put all together, and you want to believe this bullshit, of course you can believe whatever you want, but this is the system, for me at least, that they are using. It's called Argos, and it has been developed by Freemasonry guys, and they share their knowledge. So let me go back to, and that is why they use the shenanigans, of course, right?
Yep.
And I took this from my my work. This is the actual technology that we have, from the 2006, 2007. We can, now, not now in our days, I mean, from that time to our days, we have the virtual reality go really beyond the regular imagination, because with just one green screen, you can fake whatever you want because it's connecting from the camera and the space position into real life of the camera. So anything you see here is totally virtual, even the reflections, the ambient occlusions, the refractions, and it's all being done in real time. Even the chroma key into that finest hair. Of course,
wow.
When you look, this is real glass, real glass being pick up the virtual environment with reflection, refraction, all in real time. And this is just, this is system that cost only $50,000. I mean, how many of these NASA can buy it in one day?
Jeez, thousands.
Exactly. They use distance quality, for example. When you see from the distance, you see like just a simple wall without any details. But if the camera make a first plane or zoom on it, you can see the details in that white plane. You can see anisotropic refractions in the metal objects.
So explain to people what is real and what isn't real in this image.
The only real is the guy.
Wow.
All the that you think is just is this setup, is this green screen.
Right.
Here you can see in the monitor. Not just only that, for example, and I used one of the best render engines, which called Octane Render. And the Octane Render is render engine for computer graphic that is only about $400. And you can see here, when you combine real actors and some of real objects in totally virtual environment, picking up the shadows, the reflection, of course, the movement of the camera. I mean,
unbelievable.
If you change this for space environment, you have the same interaction. I mean, you are not going to be able to detect.
So again, people can believe what they want, but when you look at the kind of footage that we saw in the 80s of space, late 70s, 80s, 90s, as Iro says, if you want to believe this shit, go ahead.
Exactly. Look at this. I mean, it's amazing, the quality of this is real-time processing. I mean, this is rendering in real time with 2 GPU cards only 2 CPU cards.
Right, and they say, oh, look we can see these guys on the ISS. They are doing a 360. The camera's going around them on the ISS. It must be real, Hiru. Must be real.
It must be real. Yeah, in fact, it's not just that. Even here, because at least in this part of the video, he sit on real chair, but then he's going to sit on this green box, and in fact, he's sitting on the couch, and he interacts with the couch, for example. Wow. I mean, this is our technology, and when you translate this, it's not just the video, is also the effects of they are being used. Sorry, I have the first PowerPoint crash because the document that they are using is about 5 gigabytes. So PowerPoint is not. Yeah, PowerPoint is not. Friendship of 5 gigabyte files. Let me just reopen
no problem.
very quickly.
Yeah, and hopefully everyone saw what was going on there, because that's something we've been saying for a few years now, that the time has come and gone for them to have proven it to you that they went to the moon, that they went to space, because now reality and CGI are really indecipherable.
Exactly. And here you can see the same effects that NASA been used in the modern ISS footage as this system provide. And I mean, you're gonna see in a moment. I don't want to scrap the video because that is when you have the problems. Let me just. Yeah, exactly, man. I don't want to
look
behave
at that,
like
with the faucet in front
footage.
of him, with the reflections and the pans.
Yeah, this is the time of effects that they use, when they pop up these tiny demons in space. And also this one, you remember the guy that make like a backflip and go into the wall and is vanishing?
Yep.
Well, when you have these kind of setups, you provide to the computer the measurements and the limits that you want the real actor interacts. So you can have, for example, just this part that I delimited with the mouse movement into the real studio, but you want to make the belief of the people that the studio is more big. So you have this other part of the image that provide you a wide angle view, but your studio is small, so you can just set up an automatic fade like that one. For example, in real time, of course, right?
Which they may have used also the exact same kind of thing 16 years ago on September 11th.
Could be. Exactly. So here you can see how deep this technology goes. Just let me finish the videos of the people.
No problem. Wow.
Can
Look
see
at the reflection in the... Unbelievable.
Yeah, like the water, like the bubbles in space. And here, you can see contact shadows, for example.
Wow.
And remember, this is all green screen. And the software that allow you to make that real-time green screen process is only $140. So
and you said the other one was only what was the expensive one?
The expensive one is when you buy the camera and the computer and the 3D software, which is about $15,000. 50, yeah. I mean, you can go to the web page, which called this is the brand. This is O Reality, and this is from 2016.
Right.
So it's commercial, it's out there. I mean.
So 50,000 with NASA's 53 million. That means they could purchase 1,000 of that program in one day. I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, really, it would be, it would leave them with 52,999,000. Something 950,000. So.
Exactly. That is why when you see lot footage, this is from the 2006, you can clearly see that the green screen computation is not the same in our days, so that you have this guy totally red without all the border of the image is being pixelated. You can clearly see if you are a guy who comes from the computer graphic industry, you immediately going to detect that this is a bad chroma key or a good chroma key at that time. But in our days, you can clearly see how the motion blurs and everything else is just it's totally
crap.
It's totally crap. Right? Exactly. But
they're getting better.
They're getting better. I took this video from one of your videos, but for me it's really for illustrate that the people that when they they can delete in real time wires and objects and wherever they need, because you can do it in your own, tablet.
You can do this now with your iPhone.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you must be understand that when we're talking about this level of layers, they have, the people out there. I remember when, there was commercial pen drives about 4 gigabyte, and the people get crazy. But they have in stock like the pen drive that store, 200 gigabytes. And what I'm trying to say. I mean, the technology that they release commercial is beyond the technology, is below the technology that they have in develop.
Right. Yeah.
So
whatever we have now, they had better than we have now. 15, 20 years ago.
Exactly. This is just student projects that they interact with a webcam. The webcam detects, make a depth map, and they can interact with virtual object. And this is a school project make with a webcam in 2012, 2008. So when I see this kind of errors, or when you see the astronaut interacting with object, I don't say that this is the process, but it's so easy to do, in real time.
Well, when you have people to do it, when you have money to pay them, when you've got time and that's your job, then absolutely.
This is a little gravity pocket.
And again, all these scientists that we're seeing, all these astronauts that we're seeing, I mean, if you've ever heard any of them interviewed, they're all idiots. They
totally idiots.
They can't talk. They can't tell you about experiments that they're doing. They make mistakes. This should be the cream of the crop. NASA says it hires 1 out of 4,000 applicants. Give me a break.
Exactly. You see the new videos that they trying to normalize this kind of error when the object drop down, and they call gravity pocket. Do you see that?
I see it drop down. Yeah.
Yeah. The guy have a hammer in the hand and a card in the other hand. If you go here and put gravity pocket, this is the way that NASA trying to normalize to the people they mistake. So they tell that supposedly if you see an object falling down so quickly that, it's like being here on Earth, is because it took a gravity pocket. I mean, but the problem is that they don't talk about the upside gravity pocket, because here, of course, the object going down into a gravity pocket. But sometimes they have objects that go really up. So what is that? Is anti-gravity pocket? I mean, it's a black hole pocket. They are so, you can see a lot of objects that's not just falling down. Here you can see little movement in little objects that are like, hanging the cables of this object. Because when the robot go down, and this is from Japanese agency, you're going to see here on the roof little pieces that moves. For example, why all these object moves if the robot is floating on the air? Why these tiny objects,
the ones at the top are even more telling. Yep.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe a huge gravity pocket.
I think that's a gravity wave.
That's a gravity wave detection. Yeah, I believe that. This is amazing that the guys is turning and I can't hang. Okay, this is just a compilation. But like you said before, if you go back in time a little bit, you can see how, at the 60s and 70s, the people believed that this could be real. Of course, if you show this to a young boy who plays PlayStation 4, if the child is going to laugh in your face.
Right.
But we used to be that
we
child.
We believed it. We knew nothing.
Time.
We knew nothing more better. Yeah, we knew nothing else but to think it was real.
Exactly. But when you start to make the comparison, years when you start to compare from the beginnings to our and what happened,
Now, do you
why
think?
in this,
Let me ask
you
you
never
about.
see the aurora borealis, and
Right, they never
now,
showed that before.
yeah, and now, wow, look at that.
Look at that.
Merry Christmas, man.
Now, some of the ISS footage that we see now, you're in the same camp as me, right? That you think it is mostly real footage, but just post-processed?
Totally. In
Yeah.
fact, you can take from drones, and NASA have that, drones, planes, or balloon. You just record a portion of the Earth, and then you make a mosaic.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a big map, you just mapping into a sphere. It's not. I made so many times in my live hangouts. I may showing to the people, and I believe in this video at the end I have something about that. No, it's not this one. I believe maybe.
And tell people real quick your channel, so I don't forget at the end, just so that they know where they can find more and see that stuff, because it's really telling.
My channel is this one. Is Nur for everyone, but Spanish. And this is the webpage. If you add .com.ar from Argentina, you're gonna see that my webpage, and you can filter in the webpage.
What does that translate to?
It's light for. It's not light, but the word Nur in Arabic language means light of the center.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that. It's like said, like Polaris for everyone, or if you want to see in that way, it's light for everyone, but not the light of Luciferian,
right.
Symbolic thing. And I clarified this because, people out there can believe that I am a shield,
right?
A Luciferian shield.
You're a Jesuit.
Yeah, I'm exactly. So I'm going to continue. I believe that I have. Sorry, I crashed again the PowerPoint.
You broke it.
Yeah, I broke it. It's your fault.
It's not my fault at all.
So I don't know how we are in time.
I think we're over, but go ahead and keep going till you are happy.
Okay, man.
I love the last footage you just showed. I was really happy that you showed that, the green screen footage.
Okay. No, because I trying to find, because I have the process to fake the image on the ISS when you see the world passing by down the spaceship. But I can't find it right now, so I don't want to go crazy.
Next time when you find it, put it in put it in a Jaren folder and remember it.
Okay.
Oh man, I saw that too. That's a crazy video.
But no, but in fact, when you told me something, I turned crazy, and let me just show this. I found it. So this is me using the 3ds Max software, configuring an Earth. I mean, this is all procedural. This, what you see here, is just procedural. I mean, it's made texture by computer. It's not picking up real image. And I show this for have the comparison. But I mean, you can process whatever you want, and you want to have the realism that you want to have. You can do it procedural, or you can do it based on pictures. Of course, if you make based on picture, on real picture, and that is why the good effects are doing, like this one. You just pick, Bexel camera plane footage, and you create a mosaic, and you mapping into a sphere, or just flip it a little bit, and you add a mask, a curving mask, and you have the spherical Earth down there. I mean, that is why maybe they have,
it's almost
they
too
never
easy.
have a regular curve.
Yeah, it's almost too easy. Yeah, that's why it looks like the land appears up over the edge of a conveyor belt. Doesn't actually look like a real sphere would look.
Exactly, it's not like a real sphere. And in fact, if you took the
because you can't
world
live
class
on a sphere, by the way. Just want to
exactly
make sure people
exactly.
listening understand that.
exactly. If you took the world-class plane mapping photography that been used by Google and other companies, you just film the Earth with the camera pointing down, and you create the mosaic you need, and you map it into a sphere, and you have the satellite image. Easy as that. I
Easy.
mean, yeah, that is all the supposedly satellites service are made of all these systems. It's a huge system. It's not just as one object that make everything, like a satellite supposedly. It's based on drone images and plane images and balloon images. You just create the texture, and that is why they never use the clouds moving or the city lights, flashing.
And people say, well, I can see the land there. Well, the land could have been pieced together by former high-altitude flights, and then they're just taking weather data and mapping it onto that sphere that he just built, easily.
Yeah, exactly. And these guys are behind all this science, or supposedly science and fakery, and they lie in our face all the time. And let me just play this clip that so many of you already seen, but
America will produce a great many great Americans from many different walks of life and many different fields, and many will be Masons. Sportsmen, actors, writers, soldiers, filmmakers, businessmen, inventors, astronauts.
What on earth is an astronaut?
No, they're not.
I don't follow.
Well, they're not on Earth, they're in space. In fact, Brother Buzz Aldrin was the second man to walk upon the surface of the moon.
That's the best thing I've heard this evening.
What, that a Mason walked on the moon?
Mike Collins, but for today, how often are you reminded?
This is from you, man.
Yep.
If I go out back and look up in the sky and see the moon, either I can remember where I was 20 years ago, or I can pretend I've never been there, and it works for me either way.
I'm going to
pretend I've never been there, and it works for me either way.
I walked on the moon. What have you done?
Maybe that sort of looks like it's waving in a breeze.
I take the sound off because you're gonna have trouble with the copyright. But you see the waving of the flag.
It's obvious.
The answer is in the wind, man. I mean, how can you explain this in supposedly no atmosphere environment?
It's a tinfoil flag, they say.
Well, that's nice, man. That's a nice excuse, It's really scientific facts. Yeah. So you can see these guys are all connected, and they belong to the same orders, and they swear secrecy. That is the thing.
Yep. No, and the brother comes first. The brotherhood comes first. It's in their mottos or their oaths that they'd rather have their tongue slit than to give up another brother.
Exactly. And let me just no, I'm not going to get the risk. But you can talk about any kind of scientific numbers, equations from trying to prove that we go to the moon. But when you see these kind of things, I mean, it's go all over the edge. I mean, this is impossible in the moon. But well, they believe that. So
they believe it.
Yeah, they believe it. So this is the early stage of Argos that they use in modern fakery. But for me, this was one of the first attempts to, trying to fake the low gravity environment, which is the self-locomotion system, of course, also developed by NASA.
That's about what we should have seen on the moon.
Exactly.
About that
supposedly.
High. Yeah.
About the high, with all the dust flying and go into the air before lands. And but when you see this kind of comparison, and you see that with this system is the same kind of jump into the moon, in the moon, I mean, there is no any more doubt for me. I mean, it's impossible that these two things are compatible.
Right.
Before going, of course.
Right. There's no way why is it that the physics of these wires are matching what's happening on the moon, except for that jump, of course, because they should have been able to leap the lunar rover easily. I mean, you're talking about, if you talk about a 200-pound man and a 200-pound backpack, so that's 400 pounds. They're only supposed to weigh 1/6, and you would still have the muscle mass that you have as an adult. So imagine being an adult male with the muscles and the muscle mass that you have, and only weighing 50 pounds on a body with gravity of 1/6 the Earth. You would be able to leap 10, 20 feet.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. So, of course, for example, the early stage of what know in our days as CGI is this kind of devices, which also is patent, and you can find it on Google Earth, like I did, Google search. And when the people say at that time they don't have CGI, of course they don't have CGI. They have matte painting, and they have analog composition, and they have the best rendering devices that is created, which is the hand of a human.
Mm-hmm.
So you can paint it photorealism from the early 14th century, I mean, this device is device for producing illusionary effects. And the, I mean, the cover of that patent is a spherical Earth.
Right.
So they paint it and then they film it.
Right.
And that is why at that time is more realistic than the modern time.
And then think of how easy it would be to map these cloud patterns, and really the only ones you need to even really be completely accurate real time about would be the ones over the land. It just seems so easy to do.
Exactly. In fact, this is real image from NASA Mercury project. When they took a sphere and they painted, the Earth as we see in the supposedly picture from the Apollo 17, which is this one.
Yep.
And that is so much easy to do at that time, because right now we have really powerful rendering engine, but we need to wait so long to have our days rendering engine. So that is why they even into the early 20th century, 21st century, they still use painted image or real photograph.
Right.
Because it's the only way to, try to convince the people. You can see here all footage make like a stop motion, when the astronaut move the head and the helmet is also moving, which is, But if you go to the history part, and I really love to do that, at the same time that the Mercury missions and the Russian missions, because here this is Russian missions and they share the same knowledge, the same techniques. It was this stop motion technique that even the Academy of Hollywood give an Oscar. And look at the movement of the toy and look the movement of the astronaut. It's almost the same kind of steppy motion you're gonna see. In fact, he never move the legs. The legs all the time are stuck, in one position, because they use this kind of system with, a black background. So you don't need to even put, maybe you don't need to erase the cable at that time. So they have all the equipment to do that. I mean, from the beginning until our days, they have all the equipment to do that. And Hollywood is the key.
Absolutely. Hey, Ira, we're at 2 hours right now. Do you have enough to do a part 3?
Yes, I have enough to do a part 3. If you allow me just to close this this topic, I showed this for these 5 slides more, and we can stop there.
Beautiful.
Okay, so when you research in the moon hoax, the first name you must be search. It's the guy who is known in the Hollywood. In the Hollywood Brotherhood, like the man who creates the moon, and that guy is Roger Hayward, who was an employer of Disney or Walt Disney. He also was a designer and astronomer. He belongs to Freemasonry Lodge. He creates one of the first high vacuum chamber. He one of the first who create and this is the patent of the sound absorption system. And he also create one of the most important pieces of fakery, the moon landing, which was a self-illuminated silk background, that the front projection technique that used by the cinematography director, I forget the name, the famous guy who was behind the moon landings. The director of The Shining.
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick. He used for making the front projection technique.
Mm-hmm.
He used this transparency projection screen, but he used, a device created in 1940 for a Freemason who created the moon, all the maquettes from the moon, all the miniature that was filming 30 years later. And of course, these guys, which was an astronomer and a Freemason, he wrote books about the ether, the molecules, and the occult, the architecture of the molecules. I mean, you can see how everything is all together. Everything is all together. And of course, you can see the models that they create for Fake the Moon. That is why you have some of the moon landing footage with a real, really rock moon, really solid moon, but sometimes you have this kind of image where the moon is like transparent because they are putting just a miniature in front of a screen projection. That is why you have all these mixed textures when you start seeing the moon landing footage. And they use, of course, from the beginning of Hollywood, the screen projection technique and the matte painting, which exists from 1905. So you have time to practice, man, before using it. And they have also even, devices for simulating spacecraft erosion. And you can see all, in every place out there, in every Apollo mission, how they fake the supposedly entry to the atmosphere, So even this one are miniatures. This is not a real scale model. This is a miniature. And you can see the detail that they have. So when you see the Skylab in the pictures of 1970s, it looks real because it's real, because it's a miniature. It's a photograph of a miniature.
Right, which is real.
Which is real. They don't use CGI at that time. And, if I was a NASA employer faking all this, I suggest that we still must be work on miniatures because the people out there is,
they're better.
Our CGI is so crap.
Right.
And here you can see the early stage when they painting and trying to correct things, based on the device that I showed before. And then, for finish this part, I mean, it's so easy to do for these guys, the fakery of the space that they have practiced from the, from the Jesuit orders in the 50th centuries. So if you combine this with mathematics, with equations, with all these illusory numbers in the minds of the people, teaching in school, in universities, it's a really a huge system, and for fake all this matrix on top of the real world, and you have all the information to make your own research and find the same conclusions.
Absolutely.
And I finish here, man.
Well, that's it? That's your fifth one?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going to do a part 3. I think that'll be good. So another great portion of the presentation by Iru. I thought there was some really cool stuff in there. You can catch us both every Sunday at noon Pacific. That's live on Globebusters, which is youtube.com/Globebusters and the number 1. Or if you want to catch us live, you can do that. Let me flip over here so you can see. Where are we at to? And I don't know what happened to your screen. Did you turn your screen share off? Is that what happened?
No, sorry.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
going to stop. Let me just...
there we go.
There you go.
Thank you, thank you. All right, and here we have a little ad. You can check us out where exactly we'll be in Denver, Colorado on November 15th and 16th. So let's watch an ad for that.
Are you ready? Because we're taking it to the next level. The world is waking up. Join us in Denver this November for the Flat Earth International Conference 2018. Tickets are now available at fe2018.com. FEIC USA Edition. Bigger, better, higher, and still as flat as ever.
I don't really totally get the higher reference, or is it just because it's in Denver? In which case, they know me quite well. If you want to support either Iru or myself...
How do you become America's best-selling brand?
Oh,
you
sorry.
make an SUV that's just...
Let's not listen to ads. There we go. If you want to support Iru's got his links in my description and a link to his PayPal. Please donate, support if you can. It isn't easy to do what we do, and we don't make a lot of money on our videos. So any support can help us just spend more time exposing liars and trying to show people the truth, or at least trying to kind of navigate that path towards the truth. So if you're in Denver and would like to join us, you can please do that. And then also you can join me at patreon.com/jeranism if you would like to support me there. Or you can support me by just using my Amazon link, which is j.mp/JeranAMZ. Iru, any final words for the folks? I appreciate you guys all watching. But like I said, we'll be back for a round 3 because I don't think Iru is fully done yet. But we'll keep this one at 2 hours today. So Iru, final words until part 3.
No, yeah, thanks everyone for, be with me with my English. Sometimes, I have my troubles trying to speak, and I know I've been sound, maybe a little strange, and I invented some words on the fly,
They're pretty good. I like them.
Okay.
One day I'll go through and I'll tell you all the words that you're a little bit off on. Don't ever do that to me with Spanish, or we'd be here the rest of our lives. But yeah, you only missed a few words, and I think you're getting better each time, and I think people can understand you better each time. So I think it'll only get better from here.
Okay, thank you, man. Thanks for everyone on the chat for support me and understand my lack of English. But I have to do 13, 14 rounds of this presentation. So I hope you invite me a few more times.
Sounds awesome.
I really enjoy, talking with you. I believe that we share the same kind of, path on the flat earth. So
absolutely.
I'm really...
A lot of our research crashes into each other, or I pick up from you, or you pick up from me. So that is the goal, and that's what it looks like is happening. So appreciate you guys listening, and remind you to do your own research, because if you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. Till next time, guys, this has been Jeranism. Have a good night, and peace.
Peace.